Hey everybody, my name is Kiosk, and we are back with Let's Play Dragon Age Origins. When we last left off, we made a couple new friends. And I was gonna say, and I made a friend too. But she got sick again. Yeah. Kiana needs to, eat an orange or something. So, yeah, I have shuffled around the inventory a bit. I'm now wearing the armor that Davith was wearing. And now I've got Alistair and Morrigan in some modded armor. Yeah, from the Warden's Trading Post mod. You know, it just doesn't scream apostate quite as badly, you know?
What do you need?
Alright, so let's get to know our new friend some.
Ask away.
So how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
Funny. That's funny.
I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
Yeah, you just don't seem the religious sort.
You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high.
Whoa.
The Grand Cleric didn't want to let
He
me
can
in.
count pretty high.
Duncan was forced.
You know who else can count pretty high?
Was she ever
My
furious
5-year-old
when he did?
brother.
I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
He starts counting and he just keeps going. He's like, I'm gonna count to 1 million. And I'm like, I don't doubt that you could do that. So there you have it. Alistair is the same as my 5-year-old little brother. Do you think he took pity on you?
I don't know. Maybe. When he came looking for recruits, I just remember praying fervently to the Maker that he would pick me. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
Yeah. I shouldn't have brought him up.
No, it's... I'm sorry. I shouldn't be... It's fine. He died a hero.
Dude.
They all did. Come on, let's go.
Dude, somebody you care about died. Somebody you cared about died. It's okay to be upset. Get a load of that masculinity.
What do you need? Ask away.
More questions. So you said this Arleman raised you?
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
Whoa. That sounds awesome, actually. If you haven't figured this out already, I'm a dog person. That would explain the smell.
Well, it wasn't until I was 8 that I discovered you didn't have to lick yourself clean. Old habits die hard, you know.
Oh yeah, hear that? Alistair canonically has body odor issues. So, before you go romanticizing, remember that. Ooh. I like that one, but... So not just any old dogs, slobbering dogs.
Or did I dream all of that? Funny the dreams you'll have when you sleep on the cold, hard ground, isn't it? Are you having strange dreams?
Ew. I actually don't know if this starts a romance, which I don't want to do. Even though I do think it's really funny. Yeah, only the ones where there's like a big archdemon and it's screaming.
Point taken. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Our Lehman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I
Aww.
respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Well, if he wasn't your father... Yeah. Well, if he wasn't your father, then do you know who was? Is?
I know who I was told was my father. He died even before my mother did, anyhow. It isn't important. Our Lehman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow,
Relations.
Alistair resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Isle didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
That's... It's kind of fucking horrible and also kind of fucking pathetic. Like, this like full adult woman. At what, a 10? 10-year-old? 10 years old? Yes, 10. Like, just a full adult woman looking at this like 10-year-old child and being like, yes, this is a worthy rival. That's fucking horrible.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Isle came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
Well, like, again, you were just a kid. Like... Whew. See, it seems like everybody just collectively forgot that Alistair was 10 years old.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Ooh, friendship. Friendship points. Yay.
What do you need? Ask away.
So, if you hated the Chantry, why did you stay a Templar?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
thought they were. Like, she wouldn't know that, though. She's Dalish. Or, well, I mean, she would have seen, the Templars at Ostagar, though. They're like weird armor dress things. But yeah, like, I thought the Templars at Ostagar were like wearing super heavy plate mail.
That's just in public.
You don't
In
tailor plate
private, we
mail.
have these yellow and purple tunics, right? Much more comfortable, and you don't break the beds when you jump on them during a pillow fight.
That sounds fun.
On confession day, we could go all night.
It does.
Being a Templar isn't all about chasing men in skirts and hiding behind priests, you know. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
Okay, then like make it up.
You know, I like
You
the
seem
way
to be
you
good at
think.
that.
But I guess if you're really curious, there's no harm in obliging. I have a couple of interesting looking moles I can show you later too, if you're interested.
Ugh,
The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery.
maybe
The
not.
initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
Whoa, what? What? You liked hunting mages?
No, I never got that far. I mostly learned about discipline, and training my mind to use the abilities that Templars have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
Well, theoretically this, but like, not anymore. Haha.
We won't always be traveling like this, you know.
Oh, great.
Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again.
A real
Although
home.
That seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good, either way.
Well, like, we can make more wardens.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens.
Exactly.
But we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
This has not been a good week for her. Like, really.
What do you need? Ask away.
So, what can a Templar do?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army.
Yep.
The other main purpose of
Yep.
the Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana
Oh, boy.
and disrupt spells.
I have a lot of opinions on the Chantry and Templars. A lot of them. Yeah, well, he mentioned earlier he never got this far. So they use magic themselves. That's interesting.
You could call it that, sure. The Chantry doesn't look on it the same way, however, since really our talents only work on mages. Against a regular person, I'm just a guy in a metal suit.
So theoretically, other people could also learn these talents.
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up, but not nearly as fucked up as their methods of controlling mages. I mean, it does sound effective, but, like, I'm not gonna say that. So, were you addicted to lyrium?
Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templar's talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
Yep. Compulsory drug addictions. Sounds like a good time. But we've got another new friend to talk to. Yeah.
What do you wish of me?
I have questions.
If you must.
How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The
And gameplay-wise, it's kind of useless.
Witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone
Spoopy.
and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Okay, rude. So she's been doing this for a long time.
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Well, can you change into other human forms or elf forms? She's an elf here.
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
Maybe physically. Like socially? Yeah, socially or culturally, psychologically. I mean, like, she was brought up in total isolation. So, yeah. When you're brought up in total isolation, you form some kind of weird social habits. Or I guess lack of social habits. Anyway, can anybody change whatever.
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents.
Damn.
If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself...
Can't learn the
sadly,
useless
you
skills.
must remain
Such a
disappointed.
shame. Too bad. Do you spend a lot of time as an animal? Morgan. Are you a furry?
There were nights when the wilds called to me. 'Tis true. You look
Yep,
upon the world
she's a
around you and
furry.
you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
So do you ever yiff? What do they think of you when you changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
Though, though, there is a party banter with someone else who we haven't met yet, where that does come up. That person does bring it up to Morgan. It's kind of hilarious. 'Cause, like, she's a furry. There have been Dalish keepers who are also furries who use similar magic.
Oh? Then I have no doubt your people do much to keep their talents well hidden from humans. I wonder if I was to ask one of your keepers of the origin of their magics, if there would be any relation to what I was taught.
Probably. Like, there probably is. We don't know much about our origins, aside from humans being kind of assholes.
Ah, this makes sense according to what I know of the elves. Alas.
Well, that's all.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
Well, abominations are mages who have been possessed by demons. So at this point, only you can answer that. It just sounds like it would feel weird, But I think they sound useful. They're actually not, but...
A most practical opinion. Far more so than any man I have spoken to. But enough of such
Damn it,
talk,
Morgan.
let us proceed lest the dust gather on us.
So, I like her because she hates men so much that it, for the longest time, it keeps her from passing the Bechdel test. Ooh, tone it down there. Yeah, maybe if she could, cast spells while in the animal forms, then they'd be kind of useful. I don't know, she's immune to some of the beastie's talents in beast forms. She can turn into a swarm of bees. Bees.
What do you wish of me?
Well, I mean, depending on how you level her. I'm probably not gonna end up giving her that spell, just because I never, ever use them.
If you must.
Alright, not that. So did you grow up in the wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
See, if you're playing as a male, or if you have mods to fix the heterosexual Morgan and Alistair bug, then this option is actually you can probe me anytime, and I find that very enjoyable. You could probe me anytime.
Oh, what luck. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious
what?
question.
You weren't even listening?
Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply
In
Flemeth
camp.
and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
I have a hard time picturing that.
I am no primitive, painted in blood and unable to speak the language. Flemeth knows much of your world and
Well,
taught
I can
me
see
well.
that.
For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Bold. That's bold.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps.
Yeah.
Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened
What
to be
is going
having
on
the
with your
magic hour.
arms?
He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange
What
language.
is...
Most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
Smart.
Men are always willing
And
to
there we go
believe
again.
2 things about a woman. 1, that she is weak, and 2, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes
Back
at
at it
the
again
captain
with
of
the
guard.
failing the Bechdel test.
Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever
I mean,
humans
eventually
think a
we
witch
managed
of
to
the
not bring
wild
up
looks
men,
like,
but...
was not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Like shaking hands?
To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Oh, I'm glad you're here.
Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden
Hey.
ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on
He's
with it
my
before the ground
simpleton.
opens up and swallows us, yes?
That would be some scary magic. 12. Do they like me yet? Not yet.
What do you wish of me?
Well, that's weird. Morgan's approval is higher than Alistair's.
If you must.
That's unusual. Have you ever been hunted?
My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
That's a little bit fucked up. You thought it was fun?
I found the game fun. I was too young to understand the truth behind what was happening. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Whoa. She used you as bait?
'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
And this is the first I'm hearing of them at all.
You do not know. The Zealots use that word for any magic they do not control. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit.
That was like... so much sarcasm there. But no, man, like, I am on the exact same page. I agree completely.
I hope you're not simply being agreeable. It would be a refreshing change. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
What task? We're sitting at camp.
What do you wish of me?
I think
If
there's
you
one
must.
more. Yep, there's one more. So, is Flemeth really what she seems to be? Wait, no. This one.
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
Well, at first glance, an old woman.
Oh, she is certainly old. Have no mistake of that. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I've never heard of it.
Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
Yeah, like, she's Dalish. She has no clue what any of this bullshit is. Alright, that sounds fun.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful. A fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Ooh. And just how long ago is this?
Many centuries before
Yes,
this land
of
was
course.
even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
What? Wait. So if you're like mostly like up to date on like the lore of this, then you'll like know like Alistair's parents are actually like who Alistair's parents are is actually pretty relevant to the story. And I'm just realizing like we know who Morgan's mother is. But wait, who's her father? And is he a relevant person? Huh. Oh, guess I know what I'm doing once I finish this video. Well, I can imagine she was angry.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
See, like, these days we call that bad credit. So she truly loved him then.
That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later.
The demon?
All lies.
'Cause, like, people can get possessed by normal spirits, too. Not to mention there are things in the Fade that are neither spirits nor demons. So who knows? Could have been something else. She never invaded, or he never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
And do you believe it?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
And how has she survived for, like, as you yourself said, many centuries?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal.
Abominations usually have
She
a
bleeds.
pretty short
A blade
lifespan.
in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
And, well, if we're talking about abominations who are possessed by demons, they usually have a pretty short lifespan. I don't know, did she mention? Because it's not like Korra would know. Oh well. The legend says she had many daughters.
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
She sounds so, like, okay with that. Interesting, thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
My mother's. I love them. What else do you want to know?
Nothing. I wish
Aww.
to know nothing more. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not.
So
Let
sad.
us move on.
She looked so sad there. Okay, wow. That's a lot for this point. That's weird. Alright. Well, we've just about exhausted all our everything we can do in camp for now. So it looks like that's about it for this video. In the next one, we will be checking out this, whatever it's called. You know, the place where people are and there are shops and stuff. Whatever those are called, that one that Morgan was talking about. Hope to see you there.